Yes, sir. We're back. We are Gifted Eyez Podcast. This is your captain speaking. I'm P the Pilot, also known as Pilot P, and I'm here with my co-host,
JD.
I'm here with my other co-host,
R3.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So before we start, you already know what you got to do.
Tell him.
Number 1, hit that like button.
2, please go subscribe.
3, hit that notification bell.
And 4, follow us on all social media platforms.
Yes, sir.
Let's get it.
We everywhere.
So the topic for today is, what is success? You know, everyone has their own definition of what success is, but Mr. Beast, a very successful YouTuber, has his definition, and we're going to play it for you right now.
One of the traps of modern humans is just living a materialistic life and just chasing shit nonstop for what? Why the fuck doesn't matter? Like, we just chase bigger and bigger boxes to live in, faster and faster cars, all this stuff. But like, why? Why not just skip all that and just do fun shit, like make content or build a business or things like that? Buying a mansion isn't winning. Finding a job you love and doing it over the course of decades is winning.
So Mr. Beast himself defined what success is for him and how he views the world. So after hearing that definition, what is your definition of success?
It's kind of hard because I feel like personally I haven't reached my full potential of success yet. Mm-hmm. So what I have succeeded in my life, I would say kind of similar to that. It's like, you know, you're able to, you're at peace with yourself, you know, like you have fun. You're having fun and you're doing what you like to do, and, you know, you're living your life, you know, how you want to live it. I would have to say that's success.
What about you, JD?
It's a good question. I feel like there's like two sides to think of it. Like, one side is like, in terms of success, it's like a choice. I feel like it's a choice because wherever you are in life, if you feel like you've been putting in a good amount of work, a decent amount of work, you could still be considered successful in your own view, right? But everybody has goals that they're not even close to reaching, or they just, you know, created. And if they accomplish the goals, then they become successful. But at the end of the day, most people are always going to have goals that they're trying to reach. Once they reach the one milestone, they're going to get to the next one. And if you really just live off that, you're not going to really ever feel successful because you always got something else you're chasing. So, like, for me, I always try to just say, I am successful where I'm at right now, but I see, like, I want to get more, like what you said. If that makes sense.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Yeah.
That's actually a really good point. I guess a follow-up question to that, do you think success is internal, or is it also external, or is it a combo of both? Because, you know, there's like the general idea of like, oh, I am successful, like a successful like music artist or a successful doctor. We like, when you say successful and then you put like an occupation to it, we have an image.
Yeah, I would have to say it's both because it depends on the perspective of who's looking at it. You know what I mean? Like, myself, to somebody else, I might seem successful, but like personally myself, I am not. I haven't reached, like you said, you haven't reached all your goals yet. You know, so I would have to say that it's like, it's both.
Okay. So you saying it's both, right? Would you say it's equally 50-50, or would you say it's more internal or more external?
I mean, I would have to say it's 80-20. So my perspective of myself matters more rather than what other people think of me. But that 20% of how other people think of me still affects how I see my success. Yeah. You know what I mean? Because it's like, because, you know, how I feel matters, but sometimes I'm like, man, you don't know if you're at the point where you want to. Sometimes you need to hear that, you know, that outside perspective to be like, oh, all right, yeah, that confirmation, you know, that confirmation is good. You know, it confirms where you're at, you know, rather sometimes your own perspective, you don't know where you're at. So I would have to say that.
Yeah, I would say I agree with you on that, definitely, especially like battling the internal and the external. The external is a factor, but it's not the sole factor. You know, like for an example, like if you want to be successful, that doesn't mean like being famous doesn't mean you're successful in a way, because it has its pros and cons. Like you could be famous for all the wrong reasons.
Yeah,
you know, but having like the recognition of you doing something, could be like a consideration of what like that you're successful. You know? But yeah, that's something I've been thinking about a lot recently. Mainly because like I like to like think into the future, and like I like to think about what I want to do in life and what makes me happy and stuff like that. But I think it's mainly internal plus the external, like the 80-20. I think for me, if I had to put numbers to it, I'll say more like 70-30.
Like 70 externally or internally?
70 internal, and then 30 external. And I think it's mainly because like we are in the content creation space now. You know, like if we weren't in this space, I think it would be more internal, be more the 80-20. But now that everything we do, we publish it to the public. It's now our focus is a little bit different. Yeah, because we were. Yeah, technically we're seeking that external validation.
We care more. Yeah,
exactly. Because
on that outside perspective.
Exactly,
that's a good point.
We have these conversations all the time. In private, but now we're doing it for the public. So like the more we do it, it's gonna be from 80-20 to 70-30 to 60-40.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah,
technically we're seeking that. You know, we're seeking the external validation in a way. By like how many views we get, or how many likes and stuff like that.
Well, if that's the case, it's technically, would you think 60-40?
60-40? I think we're getting there. But the only reason why like I think it's not there yet, because a lot of the things that we talk about actually like help me as a person. Like these are things that I want to just like talk about with just people in general. But we talked about this before. Like these conversations are not meant for just everyone. You know, like we want everyone to to tap in and have these types of conversations. But not everyone's able to. You know,
that's
so. Facts. I think that's why. Maybe it makes sense. Maybe it doesn't make sense. But yeah, there is an external factor to it. Because I know a lot of people say, "Oh no, success is all internal." But if no one was watching you, would you still do what you're doing?
Not only that,
if there was no praise or anything like that. Yeah,
that's facts. Not only that, like you know how we've talked about, like based off of who you hang out with depends on like your growth as a person. I would also have to say who you hang out with depends on, that plays a big factor on how successful you will become.
That makes sense because their opinions matter because those are your people. You feel me? And at the same time, you don't want to let them down. Yeah. So that's where like the external aspect of things matters. But I do think it's more internal than external.
I have a question for y'all. So like when we're looking at Mr. Beast's clip, right? His view of success is when he's hit the type of job he wants for the rest of his life, which is creating content and making cool videos like that. What are some other jobs or way of a life that makes people feel like successful? Because everybody's is different. You know what I'm saying? Like I can do my own thing, but to you it might not be successful, but to me it might be.
Well, he made a good point where he was talking about how like the materialistic kind of aspect to it, where it's more like the general public kind of see that more as success. Like, oh, what am I wearing? What car am I driving? Kind of thing. So I would have to say, like, when it depends on a job, I mean, content creating, but also like any entrepreneur kind of lifestyle, I would have to say, because that's more of like a success that you're creating based off of your own creation in almost some way. Even though it might not be content creating, it could be, you know, like if you have your own clothing line, you know, we know a couple people with their own clothing line. That's a type of success, you know, where what Mr. Beast was talking about, you know, where they're creating what they love, and it's getting, you know, that reflection back, like, oh, this is nice. Oh, I want this, and, you know, stuff like that. So I would have to say people who are gaining, you know, making their own whatever entrepreneur, you know, it's such a wide, you know, variety of things to do. So
yeah.
What about you, P? What do you think?
I think in terms of lifestyle, I'll say kind of like living life on your terms. And recently, for some reason, I've been reading like a list of values and stuff like that, and upholding your values at the same time. You know, because you're dictating what you allow in your life and what you want to do in life. So for an example, like if you want to be like a basketball player and you have the free time to play basketball whenever you want, however you want, then you're successful in that way because you're doing everything that you want to do. Or, and like literally anything, you know, and you're living life on your terms for the most part. That's real success. Yeah. And I think the other side to it is also obtaining things that was hard before. Like, I'm thinking about like the materialistic things. Like me, I'm always gonna preach traveling. Like before, like traveling was tough because, you know, you didn't have the money.
Yeah.
But now that you got some money, you could travel a little bit more. And
you got some money, huh?
yeah, you know, I got a little chunk of change. You feel me? But like, yeah. So like before you couldn't travel, but you wanted to. Now you can. You know, so it's like you think about the past and you think about the present, and then you're like, damn, like things changed. You know. Now
That's
I'm able to do things that I want to do.
Yeah.
You know. So, yeah, I think success is just a combination of a bunch of different things, but
for real.
definitely a lot of it is like goal oriented. You know. So yeah.
What about you? What would you have to say?
I'm still really thinking about this because it could be complex. Depending on where you think of it, like you could think about it in the sense of you want validation from others, right? Like you can, you know, get a high position in a job, or you could buy, you know, expensive car. Some people might view that as success, but is it, depending how you got it, or if you really feel like that's successful to you, do you feel like successful? So that's something I'm really trying to like pick apart in my head. Like, what would make me feel like I'm successful? Because I know for a fact me buying an expensive car is not going to. Like, I really don't care about that. But, like, what, like, would I have to truly be doing for me to feel like that? That's a hard question to, like, really answer. When you really think about it, like, a genuine answer, that's not easy to think about. So that's what I'm juggling with right now.
I know exactly what you're talking about, because, like, even with, like, people that, like, I know who got promoted to, like, you know, like a high management job where they have other people under them. I'm like, man, that's mad, you know, that's good, you know? And, you know, when you're talking to them and then they're telling you kind of like, they're like, oh, you're like, is it really success? Because then they're like, you know, I have all these people under me, and if they do something wrong, then
it falls back on them.
It falls back on them. And it's like, and not only that, they're stressed because they're stressed on, they have to move a certain way, but how other people are moving also affects how they're looked at. You know what I mean? So say like someone under you does something wrong or whatever, and you don't reprimand it or whatever a certain way, and then you get questioned like, why'd you reprimand them like that? You know, stuff like that. And I would have to say, is that success where you have to have like an authority over other people, kind of thing.
Yeah. I think that's like conditional success. So like how I view it is like, so me, general success, you're able to do whatever you want. Like, that's like pretty much like absolute freedom. That's like the goal. You can do whatever you want, whenever you want, without repercussions. But obviously, we live in a society where whatever you do, there's gonna be repercussions. But like conditional success is like working let's say working like a job and you got promoted to manager. In your job or like in your career, you are becoming more and more successful because you're moving up the ladder. But again, like you said, the extra stress and the risk and the potential, the larger potential for blame increases as well, because that's what comes with it. So in your job, you're becoming more successful, but in real life, you're technically going backwards. Because you're more restricted now. Because you have to move a certain way, you got to act a certain way. And certain things that you want to do, you can't do anymore because let's say you're in the public eye now. There are certain things that you can't do that you used to do. And that takes away from your happiness overall. So yeah, like it gets complex because especially when you get specific to what you consider successful, especially in like your different like pockets in life. Like having a big family could be successful to you, but you having a small family is successful to you because you're able to do more with less. But yeah, that's why success is a really important topic. Because it's one certain way is usually like pushed out on social media, and I feel like a lot of people tend to like forget what they value in life and what they actually enjoy in life, and they think that's the only way to be successful. You know,
that's a great point. People are very heavily influenced by what's not only social media, but like just any type of media, like TV shows or like newspapers or just whatever. So like, it's just crazy to think about. Really crazy to think about. But yeah, y'all gonna be successful, so you know.
I'm already successful.
Hey,
so, you know
there we go.
But yeah, one question I would have to say is, you think like fame is kind of intertwined with success?
I think it goes back
in a
to
certain
like
way, you know what I mean?
The internal and the external. So the external, if you're famous for, I don't know, like let's say building a school. Internally, you wanted to build a school to help people get educated on a certain thing, right? And then if you get fame from it, that's like the external validation. So yes, there is that factor in it, but again, it's not the sole factor. But if some people are like, I just want to get famous.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking.
I know a lot of people. I just want to be famous.
Yeah, just have clout. That's it.
Yeah,
they don't even have to be connected to money.
Exactly. Yeah. So if that is what they want in life, and that's what they truly want,
it's success.
That's success. They're successful in what they wanted. So that's true. That was their goal. So I guess everything goes back to 1, knowing yourself, 2, understanding your values, and 3, like what are your goals? Like your true goals in life. Because once you figure all that out and then you put in the work and reach those goals, then you became successful on your terms. I think that's the biggest thing. You want to be successful on your terms. But that was actually a really good question.
Not for real.
But fame does play a factor. Because we think about fame, and I think we think about like the negative side of fame all the time, like recently or a lot.
I think about the negative side of fame all the time.
I think that's natural. But fame does have its positive. That's why people want to be famous, you know? Because like if you're famous, you could
influence.
You have a stronger influence. Influence is power. At the end of the day, we're human. We all want power. It depends on how much power we want and what we do with the power.
Exactly.
See, the only problem I have with fame is there's a certain level of fame where you're almost not considered human anymore. You know what I mean? Like what you say really affects how, people view you in life. Not only that, what you don't the privacies that you used to have, you no longer have. You know what I mean? So I would have to say, there's a certain level of fame that I would. It's more of a negative side that I see. Yeah. And you see that a lot in like celebrities and stuff. Like the most successful people that we have in whatever craft they have in entertainment. Like you see them, it's almost like in one moment, one little thing, it can just be destroyed. You know what I mean? Based off of that fame and how they're living their life. So
that's fragile.
Yeah. So that success is almost temporary. It's something that can be taken away. So it's something that's scary.
Yeah, that's definitely what comes with the territory, especially if you're like with anything. If you're successful in anything, I think that like the potential downfall of making the wrong move comes with it. Like let's say you're a doctor. That one mistake can end your career. That's why you got to go through the procedures and make sure you do everything right. And if it doesn't go right, you still went through the steps to make sure you did everything that you can and like everything in your best abilities. So, but success is always the potential of failure, but it's not really failure. You could always learn from it and then improve yourself so that like failure won't happen again.
Yeah, because the only why I brought this up is because I saw a quote one time and it was like, true success is when you're at peace. My thing is based on, how our society works and stuff is you're not really truly at peace. You know what I mean? Like if you are at peace, it's temporary, based off, especially with, that level of fame, like celebrities and stuff like that. I feel like they're at peace, but it turns into something else after a while when they're on that, that high pedestal. So success, I would have to say you have to be not wary of success, but once you get to that success where you enjoy, don't try to overdo it. You know what I mean? Because then you can ruin it. You can destroy it. So,
So that's funny because I had a conversation with a friend, and they'll tell me a story about someone who did something, and they were up, more up than everyone else, and they fumbled all of it, and now it's like, damn, like you had everything in your hand, and you just fumbled it in a short amount of time because they got caught up in the success. They got caught up in like the outwards like portrayal or like the outwards like image of being successful. And they relied too heavily on the external validation. Which was actually like really interesting to like hear about, especially when it's like firsthand or secondhand because the friend told me. But yes, it's like someone's so close to you and like, damn, like you really had it and you fumbled it.
And it happens a lot.
Spin the block, you can get it again.
Oh yeah, that's facts. Yeah, but that's why success is so important. And like JD said, there's so many different definitions and aspects of success.
Yeah.
So,
this is actually a good question. Would you not have something or have it and then lose it? Like, what is worse?
I'd rather not have something.
Okay.
Rather than have it and then lose it. Because that's a different type of loss.
Yeah, you had a taste.
Yeah, you had a taste,
bro. You had a taste
of
that cake.
You'll always remember that taste.
Not for real.
And then when it's gone, it's like, man.
It's like those NBA players or any athlete that makes a lot of money and then they go broke. like they might as well just stay broke before, because they know what they had, they know what they could have kept, and they know a lifestyle other people are living, but they can't even touch it again.
Yeah, and then what happens with a lot of people is they end up living in the past. You know, well, I did this, blah blah blah.
30 years later,
and it's like, bro, that don't matter anymore.
Not for real.
Because what you have now is
nothing.
You know,
just memories,
right?
Bro, yo, that really sucks, bro. It sucks.
Yeah.
That sucks.
It's like,
it's not even funny.
You ran out of gas in your car, you can't go no more. You know what I mean?
You know what's funny about that? Everyone goes through that phase.
Yeah.
Because nothing lasts forever.
That's true.
You know? Like, you can think about the most successful person in any industry, right? There's going to be a point in time where, like, you know, the flame goes out.
Yeah.
Because it's not going to last forever.
Yeah.
So, maybe because it's like, if it's more graceful, it hurts a lot less.
Yeah. There's definitely levels, though.
There's definitely levels.
There's
Yeah.
levels.
And there's different variables if you think about it, because a lot of successful people, if you think about it, success comes with those demons, you know, like those leeches and stuff. People who are trying to, you know, get a little taste of that, you know, of your own success. You know what I mean? Not only that, you got, you know, haters, you know.
Yeah.
So there's those type of variables that affect on how long you can keep your success.
That's a good point. Yeah, success is actually just the concept itself.
Yeah.
And it's funny because we didn't even provide like a definition, but I have the definition right here. And it says the accomplishment of an aim or purpose. That's simple.
Yeah.
Like if you have a goal, let's say your goal is to do 2 push-ups.
Yeah.
You do 3, it's successful.
I'm successful.
It's successful, you know?
Yep.
So it literally depends on what the aim or purpose or goal is. So that's where like the internal aspect kicks in the most.
And there's so many different definitions if you think about it, because it's like there's so many definitions of life and how to live it.
How to live life, yeah.
And what's that success look like of a successful life, you know?
Yeah.
So
it definitely depends on your values. It definitely depends on like what you believe is true and stuff like that. But yeah, I guess words of wisdom of success is make sure you understand yourself and, you know, just do things that you want to do.
Understand your purpose, you know?
Yeah.
And how you want to live your life. And like P said, do what you want to do, you know?
Because life is too short.
It is.
But it's also a marathon, so you got to do what you got to do. You have any words of wisdom?
Words of wisdom for success. You choose if you're successful. That's what I truly believe that. You choose. It's not easy. You might feel like you're not where you want to be, where you thought you were going to be a year ago or 2 years ago. But, you know, if you're doing, you know, pretty much the steps that you feel like you got to take, you know, every given week, you're successful. It's a mindset before anything else. Because there's rich people that don't feel like they're successful. And there's people who have nothing and they feel like they're getting it done. It's all internal to me.
Yeah.
Anything else?
Nothing else.
All I gotta say is, you know, you're not behind in life. Just keep moving forward.
Keep your eyes on the prize.
We're a Gifted Eyez podcast.
Peace.